so much for having me. Before going further, I just want to thank Alina and, of course, the team at Freelance Business Community for having me join this wonderful second edition of Freelance Business Month. Um, Before going further, though, I want you all to just take a few moments, if you're so inclined to do so, and close your eyes. And what I want you to do is just envision your why for a minute. Why did you start your freelance journey? Why do you like being a business owner? And why do you do what you do? So if you'll exercise this, I'll give you a few moments to just close your eyes and do some visualization here. Okay, perfect. So thank you for doing that. Now that you've done so, if you'd like to, I would encourage you to actually write your why on a piece of paper. It can be now or it can be later, but I would suggest that you keep this on your desk or in close sight that you can reference on a regular basis. And this purpose can help get you going through the tough times, I found. Just to give you a little background about myself, as mentioned, I'm Andrea Chase and I'm from Ottawa, Canada. I'm co-founder of a consulting firm called Bates Global Incorporated. And Bates is a business analysis and IT solutions firm that works with public and private entities. And it was actually through this venture that I learned what being a freelancer really meant. I learned how to conduct an initial consultation with clients, how to write proposals, outline payment plans, and how to help others realize their entrepreneurial visions. Not to mention how to wear all the hats that we wear when we're entrepreneurs. And I must admit, of course, I'm still a work in progress. I do believe that entrepreneurship is a constant learning experience. I personally have had wins, but of course have had a lot of losses over this time. I'm also founder of ProCabby Ltd, which I'll get to in a moment. But you may wonder how I actually ended up in business for myself. I've always been a person who's beat to my own drum and been that big dreamer type of person and wanted to have my hands in all different kinds of industries. So, I've worked in the hospitality sector, in customer sales, in customer relations, teaching English as a foreign language, and a few things in between. But one thing that I know for sure about myself is I love building something from nothing. I love being a part of that process where there are no limits and where you can help shape your own destiny. And I believe that really is how I ended up in entrepreneurship. And a lot of people in my circle will say things like, I can never do what you're doing. And I don't think that business is for everyone. It's certainly not for those with a faint heart. But I do wholeheartedly believe that if you have the drive, that you can learn to become a business owner or freelancer if the desire is great enough. Now, I can't discount the fact, of course, that I have a degree in psychology and I do have a diploma in business management. And of course, this education has contributed to my path. But I do believe that my personality and that aspiration for more has just as strongly contributed, if not more, to where I'm at today. And I love working with consulting clients, especially those big-eyed, big dreamers who are just starting out, who want to change the world and make the world a better place. Although I have to say a few years ago, there was a greater pull, and that's what ultimately led me to finding ProCabby. In true entrepreneurial fashion, in the spring of 2016, an idea was actually unexpectedly born. My husband and I have a family member who's been driving taxi for over 30 years, and he was very hard hit, of course, by the implementation of ride sharing as well as technology advancements in the field. His taxi plate, which he intended to sell off as a retirement fund, had become practically worthless. So, as a purveyor of taxis myself for many years, I wanted to have a platform that I could use that would work very similar to ride sharing, where I could order a professional taxi at the click of a button, pay through the app, but also be able to support the professional driving industry and to be able to help these drivers rebuild their retirement funds and to help them earn some supplementary income. ProCabby was born from a very strong desire to help these drivers. I wanted to help them create a better tomorrow for themselves and their families, and that is what we're working on today. Our free app exclusively connects licensed professional taxi and limousine drivers with passengers on demand. We offer a free share program for all of our drivers who register, as well as a referral program. And it sure has been an interesting and windy journey, to say the least. Now, in the essence of full transparency, I have to say, I sort of fell into becoming a woman in tech with ProCabby. I don't come from the IT world myself, but I've learned a ton about this space, obviously, through this venture. And I don't think really that there's enough women that are at the top in that space, but it is very encouraging to see that government entities across the globe, as well as VCs and private lenders, are starting to recognize the strong need and for women-led STEM businesses, obviously in technology as well. So I've met tons of people over the last few years through this venture, and a lot of them meet me with skepticism, to be honest with you. They're sort of confused that, a woman is the head of an IT company, especially in the taxi space, which is super male dominated, obviously. And they really question, I think, whether or not I have what it takes to go the distance. We've had tons of partnerships fall through. We've had to lobby our business to government, which is an extremely lengthy process. And we've physically gone from taxi stand to taxi stand, trying to recruit drivers, and in some instances with very little luck. Now, if I'd, allowed all of this negativity to affect me and overwhelm me, I probably still wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. But that's not to say it's been an easy road. It's been extremely difficult, just to be completely transparent with you. And I've asked myself countless times, can I really handle doing this? But what's helped me persevere? Of course, I can't discount the fact of a supportive partner, as well as some supportive family and friends, is that my desire to achieve is greater than my desire for everyone to see my vision. So that vision of my happy place takes over, and that propels me to keep going. Now, this brings me to my point about the mental stamina required to be a business owner. I don't think this is talked about enough, but I do really believe this is a key piece to the entrepreneurial freelance puzzle. And I've learned through tough experiences what mental fatigue can really be like, which brought me to the point of, wanting to find ways to work on that mental stamina piece. And I know that if you're struggling personally, if you're filled with doubt or imposter syndrome, or you're reaching that burnout phase, it's obviously going to be very difficult to go the distance. So we need to work on our minds first and foremost, and of course, the rest can follow. And building up this mental stamina is an ongoing process, of course, just like that business journey is. And a few tips that have positively contributed to getting my mind in the right place are as follows. Having a personal care routine, whether that be, working out, work on mindfulness, meditation, and visualization of what your ideal life looks like, can really help you go the distance. Eat brain stimulating foods. Get adequate sleep. Walk away from your computer for a while. Sometimes that can just be the godsend that you need. Find a slice of joy in each day, whatever joy means to you. Laugh. Those deep belly laughs, just get that laughter out. It is so good for your soul. Spend some time in nature, and of course, spend time with those that you love in your life. Surround yourself with positive people, and learn new vocabulary and learn new languages, because when you're constantly used to learning, that's going to also transfer over to the business process. Read more, read as much as you can. And of course, not just business related content, but fiction, right? That's really good for your soul too. And it can get your mind kind of distracted. I would also suggest focusing on the toughest tasks you have in the day to do first in the day. Sometimes when you do that, it can put the fuel in your fire, and it can help propel a really productive day forward. And last, but obviously not least, is always remember how far you've come. So you've probably heard a lot of these things before, maybe a few times before, but I really don't want to obviously discount the importance of them. The other thing I don't want to depreciate is the value that mentorship and networking can have in contributing to your mental stamina piece. Find a mentor, find mentors in your space that you respect, who've been in those trenches of growing a business. They really can provide some wonderful support for you. Also, purposely network. So network with people in your space, in your industry, people outside of your space as well, entrepreneurs, freelancers, business owners. And those people, you never know who you're going to meet when you're connecting with these people, just like here, with the freelance business community. We never know who we're going to meet. And of course, we have to note to take advantage of the social platforms to really purposely network through those, join Facebook groups in your industry. A lot of these are free. And at the end of the day, these people will make up your tribe. And, when we're working from home or we're on our own, we need that connection, right? Even if it's virtually. So remember that these people are your tribe and they'll help when you're, feeling a bit down. And obviously, it's crucial to take some downtime. So it can be very difficult. I respect that, in the early stages of entrepreneurship, to give yourself permission to take downtime. But it is so important. And I think we shouldn't be afraid to step back, recharge, and refresh when we need to do that so that we can have a more productive tomorrow. You need to really listen to our minds and bodies. I think they're always a really great benchmark of your success. And when we're not feeling good, obviously we can't produce our best results. It's okay to not work 100 hours a week, and working smart is extremely key. One quote that especially resonated with me about building up that mental stamina was from James Clear, who says, "I accumulated small but consistent habits that ultimately led to results that were unimaginable when I started." And what this basically means to me is that consistency is key, right? One day is not going to make or break it, but it's those consistent habits over time that are going to see the results that you're probably looking for. Now, it's taken me a long time to get where I am today, but I'm still not, fully where I want to go to reach my ultimate dreams. I've mentioned a few, but there have been many obstacles at ProCabby, that we're facing, and unique challenges are constantly arising, not to mention, obviously, the wrench that COVID-19's thrown into many businesses, including ours. We've lost opportunities. We've been told that no thousands of times, having to keep up with technology advancements in that field, obviously. And I can't tell you how many times I've been compared to the likes of Uber. And, at our phase that we're at, we've had some difficulty raising capital, right? We're kind of at that in-between phase. And we are a very small but mighty team. And we've struggled, to build up our driver pool in certain areas. It's a super political industry. I don't think I realized how political it was until I got into it. And it's really hard to keep up with it. But you know what? I have to say I don't regret any of it, because I know that all of these experiences are tools in my toolkit, and they are super invaluable. And I would really urge you to do that with yourself. Remember all those things that you've been through and how you've come out the other side. And I think that you'll be very pleased with your journey. So despite all the losses, we got to flip it here a little bit. I think it's important to remember, obviously, the wins in your business. So remember how far you've come along this journey. And one of the best pieces of advice I ever received was to celebrate the wins in your business, no matter how big or small they are. I would also suggest you keep a list of these wins in your notebook or on your cell phone. And it's something that you can refer to, especially when you're having those down days. Maybe even include in that list complimentary feedback that you've been given from clients or partners or even people in your space. It's kind of like a love note to yourself, right? But it's that feel-good document that you can refer to, because we all know, again, how this roller coaster can be. For us, building our platform ProCabby from the ground up, including our own mini data center, having drivers registered in multiple cities and countries, and growing our following and building a really dedicated community. For us, these are all huge wins that I'm really proud of. Also being considered for government contracts. These are some wins I'm really proud of. But the biggest win I would say we've had at ProCabby, to be really point blank, is that we haven't given up. We've persevered through all of these highs and lows. And sometimes I believe what you're most afraid of can really set you free. So I can't tell you also how much I've gained from this experience, not just professionally, but obviously personally. And I know that everybody's definition of success looks differently. Success is not only your professional life, but also your personal life. And I think, though, at the end of the day, you should always make it a priority to do what you enjoy doing. If you're going to be spending so much time doing this, you want to be happy with what you're doing. And I would also encourage you to make a list of what success looks like to you. And I know you're hearing a lot of things about lists. I'm a little bit obsessed with making lists, obviously, but I do think that there's a lot of merit in referencing what you think success is, at least yearly or biannually, because this is a living document, right? This is going to change over time as you grow as a person and as you grow as a business owner. So if you're so inclined, I would encourage you, if you'd like to do so, to maybe take out that notebook again, if you have one there, and ponder this. I'll give you a few minutes or a few moments to ponder this, but if you could do anything in the world, what would you do? What would you do? What does that look like to you? Are you doing that right now? So I'm just going to give you a few moments to either write that down or think about that. And then you'll have a reference of that. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I know that's something that you can add on to later, but I would urge you to stop and do this exercise regularly. Like, I've personally found that doing these kind of things on a regular basis just gets my mind in a good place and just kind of gets me a little bit grounded and back on track. So I think we can all agree now that mental stamina is obviously super important for the business process. However, I think if you don't really have a clear vision where you want to go, it's going to be very difficult to persevere when the going does get tough. One of the best ways I've learned to work towards that big, enormous, scary goal, as we like to say, is to work backwards, right? So break that down into smaller, more attainable goals. Personally, I like to do a daily list of the most important tasks and relate that to the bigger goal, but it can be daily tasks, weekly tasks, monthly, whatever it is for you that works. But I think that's a really great way to work towards that big umbrella of a goal. And lastly, don't be afraid to take that leap of faith. Don't be left wondering. I always say, don't be left wondering what if. You don't want to have any regrets. At the end of the day, the worst that's going to happen is you're going to learn a lot. So this concludes this portion of the presentation for me today. I do have a few final thoughts that I want to leave with you, and these are more general entrepreneurship, business thoughts, advice that I've obtained from, seasoned business professionals, and advice that I've learned along the way as well. So I hope that they give you some hope or they give you a little bit of help no matter where you're at on your journey. First and foremost, take chances. So I once read some really powerful advice that stuck in me that said, do one thing every day that scares you. Great things are born out of the comfort zone. We're all here. We're freelancers. We're entrepreneurs. I'm sure you're no stranger to taking chances. So you're probably already doing that one. Have a side hustle. Have more than one thing on the go, because especially now in 2021 where we're at, we never know what can happen, right? Don't be afraid to pivot in your business. Monitor obviously what's working, what's not working, and there's absolutely no shame in changing direction. It's okay to change your mind. Never stop learning. No matter what, never stop learning and always keep on top of industry best practices, right? Subscribe to newsletters, attend conferences like this one, webinars, all that good stuff, as well as networking on and offline. That's a way to obviously keep the learning up. Manage your expectations. So we know as business owners that, things don't always work out as we plan, unfortunately, but they do seem to have a way of falling into place. So don't deny that natural flow of things either. Don't push back too hard. Try to kind of manage things and navigate things as best as you can as they come. And again, remember why. We've done this before, but remember why you started your business, why you started your freelance journey. And I really can't undervalue the merit it has to have that little piece of paper in close sight or somewhere on your desk or in your washroom or something like that, that you're referencing why you're doing all of this. It's never too late to get started. It's never too late to start a business. It's never too late to become a business owner. Some of the most seasoned business professionals that I've met started a lot later in life, and some of that life experience can really carry you a long way in your business as well. Be authentic in your interactions. So be really upfront, I would say. I know there's cultural implications here, but I think it's really important to be really upfront with your partners, with people that you're working with. And if something isn't for you, don't be afraid to say that, right? I think it's also really important to admit when we don't know something. It's okay. We don't all know everything. We all had to start somewhere at some time. And I think sometimes that can go a long way to just admit that. Volunteer for causes that you care about. So you don't know where these opportunities can lead, but also they can help to fuel your soul as well. And last, but obviously not least, I always like to say we should take these opportunities to travel, explore new cultures. I know with COVID, that's very difficult, but even in our own backyard, right? Get out in your own backyard, go traveling around, looking for new opportunities. There's so much that you can learn and grow from in these experiences, and I don't want to undervalue those as well. I think they really can test what you're made of, and they can plunge you out of your comfort zone, just like the business cycle does as well on a constant basis. So anyway, that's all I've got for today. Thank you so much again to the Freelance Business Community, to Alina and her team. This has been a true honor to be a part of this community from over in Canada and everything. And if you fancy connecting, I invite you to reach out. ProCabby's on all the platforms, their main platforms. Myself too, I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook, and you can also find me on Swapcard. So I'd now be very happy to open the floor for any questions. Thank you so much.